Marine Corporal Glenn McDowell from Urbandale was stationed at the Cavite Naval Base on the Philippine Islands. Locked in a battle that would last 5 months, McDowell and his buddies soon came to the conclusion no reinforcements were coming to their rescue.
We knew there was no way in heaven acres, after we'd heard what happened at Pearl Harbor, that we was going to get any help.
Eventually, the larger Japanese force prevailed. An official surrender by American troops in the Philippines was announced on April 9, 1942. McDowell fought on until May 6th.
I'll tell you, the most sick feeling you get when you look up and see Old Glory come down and a Japanese flag goes up, just made you feel like a bunch of men without a home.
Army Corpsman Malcolm Amos of Afton was among those captured on April 9th. He became one of the more than 75,000 Allied forces, including an estimated 12,000 Americans who were forced to walk the 60 miles from the tip of Luzon Island to the American military base, Camp O'Donnell. For 6 days, the men marched north with no food or water on what became known as the Bataan Death March. Anyone who was injured, fell behind, or attempted to escape was killed. An estimated 10,000 men died. 5,000 of them were Americans.
When we got into Camp O'Donnell, the rice was moldy, full of bugs, and maggots, and all that kind of stuff. And they cooked all that stuff up, and it was kind of like a porridge. And the guys looked at that, some of them looked at that, and said, well, I'm not eating that kind of crap. And they just took and dumped her. And those people are still over there in the Philippines because they just starved to death because that's the only thing there was to eat.
Both McDowell and Amos eventually wound up at the Cabanatuan prison camp, but they didn't meet each other until years after the war. McDowell, seeing the high death rate and lack of medical attention available to the men, volunteered for work details away from Cabanatuan. The work details finally took him to the Palawan prison camp on Palawan Island, where he helped build an airfield.
We didn't classify. I'm Army or you're Marine. We were just all a bunch of good American fellas sticking together. And I don't believe, in fact, I know, we were all closer than really brothers.
It was called a death march not because of how many died. Of the 12,000 Americans, only about 1,700 lived to come home. But they called it a death march because of the way they died. If you stopped on the road, you were killed. If you had a malaria attack, they killed you. If you had to stop to defecate, they killed you. If you just couldn't take another step, they killed you. And how did they kill you? They'd either bayonet you to death, shoot you, or in some cases decapitate you. They did not give us water. They gave us no food. The temperature was about 108 degrees. The Americans that were captured, a good 80% of them had malaria. Another 50% had dysentery. So we were gunshot wounds, malaria, dysentery, and we had to walk this distance that they wanted us to. Under these conditions, it was unbearable. I think that what kept me going is this: about the second day, I made the decision that the only way I was going to survive was if I started to set goals for myself. And I would walk and I would see a herd of caribou in the distance. And I would say to myself, I must get to that herd of caribou. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know how far they were. I didn't know how many days it was going to take me or how many hours. But I made every effort to get to that herd of caribou. No matter what happened. The Japanese told me to smile, I did. They told me to sit, I sat. They told me to march, I marched. They hit me, it was okay. They broke my nose, knocked my teeth out. They split my head open, but I still had to go to reach those herd of caribou. Then when I got to the herd of caribou, then I'd find another goal, and another goal, and another goal. Every day was another goal. From that day on, I've lived my whole life that way. And those people who hold on to a grudge, I think, have a very different philosophy of life. And that's how they live. By not holding on to a grudge, by being able to roll with the punch, I think it's a lot easier to live. My life is a lot happier because I've learned how to adjust to adversities and how to deal with it.